Welcome to The Alternative Investor. Impact investing is a global trend that's challenging traditional approaches to wealth creation. Along with the positive impact it has on the environment, the low barriers to entry make impact farming accessible to anyone from millennials to pensioners who can add new assets to their portfolios whenever they choose. For more, we're joined by Tim Allemann, who's a Chief Strategy Officer at Fedgroup. Tim, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thanks, Anastasia. Great to be with you.
So what's the difference between impact farming and impact investing?
Look, I think impact investing is really a move away from investing in assets or companies or investments that are solely in business to make a profit, and really about making a profit, but also doing good and giving back to society, doing good for the environment, communities, job creation, and so on. Traditionally, the way that you would invest in those type of investments would be through your typical financial services type products, funds, unit trusts, and so on, that would invest in companies that are doing good for the world around them, as well as making a profit. I think we really wanted to create something entirely new for investors that had less complexity and more tangibility in the actual assets that you're investing in, something that's more tangible and real. So where really you are buying an underlying asset in a farm. So in our case, you can go onto our app and you can buy a blueberry bush on a blueberry farm, or a beehive that produces honey, or a solar panel that harvests the energy of the sun, and you share in the profits that asset produces. But really it's allowing you the opportunity to invest in a commercial scale farming operation that is doing good for the environment and job creation, but also making you money.
Right. I mean, what's the millennial approach to these kinds of assets that you've just mentioned?
Yeah, I think certainly from our perspective, it's been really positive, but I think globally, millennials are quite skeptical of traditional type of investments and institutions. They worry about overly complex structures and financial products and lots of fees and all the rest. And really they're wanting more tangibility, to be more in touch with what they're buying and what they're owning and how they're making money. And I think more and more millennials are looking for a side hustle, something that's making them money on the side beyond their day job. And I think what we try to do is give them an opportunity to do that, but without getting their hands dirty, where you don't need to know how to farm, you don't necessarily need millions of rands to invest. Somebody does the farming for you, and you simply reap some of the rewards. And I think really millennials are also looking to do good. If you look at the whole growth in ESG investing, so environmental, social, and corporate governance type investing, globally it really is the type of investing that is catching fire globally for everybody, and millennials are really interested in that.
Now, I'm sure many of our viewers have noticed your background, what looks like a farm. So perhaps you can talk to us about, Fedgroup's involvement when it comes to these kinds of investments. You touched on solar panels, blueberries, to name but a few. How does it all work?
Yeah, so essentially we go and invest in these commercial scale farms. So as you say, in our case, this would be blueberry farms where you would go and buy essentially a blueberry bush, or as many as you would like, within this blueberry farm, or you would buy a beehive that produces honey, or you would buy a solar panel that gets put on top of a commercial scale building that produces energy for that building and saves the landlord money. And essentially then you would earn an income from those assets, either selling the blueberry bushes, selling the honey in the case of beehives, or selling the energy back into that particular building in the case of solar. And you really have that the sharing of the profits of your asset that you physically own. So we've got those three assets at the moment. We are looking at introducing a fourth asset. I won't say what it is, but another farming asset, hopefully this side of the year, but potentially in the first quarter of 2021.
What kind of return are you seeing for these kinds of assets?
We are seeing returns in line with our initial projections. So the different assets have different terms that you would invest for. So for blueberry bushes, you're looking at an 8-year term, beehives a 10-year term, and solar panels a 20-year term. The blueberry bushes are projected to return essentially an average 12% per annum per year. The beehives 14% per year, and the solar panels 10% per year. But essentially, you are then getting that revenue every time that asset is harvested. So, for example, solar is producing energy every day, but we basically would recoup money from the landlord every month, so you get paid monthly. Beehives twice a year is the harvest. Blueberries also has a harvest twice a year, and you then reap those rewards. I think it's important just to point out that in terms of those returns, they would start off lower and ramp up as the asset matures. So you can think about a little baby blueberry bush, and it starts off producing a small amount of blueberries, but as that bush matures in a few years, it starts producing more blueberries and you earn more money over time. But the average is, as I say, 10% for solar, 12% for blueberries, and 14% for beehives after you've paid off the cost of your actual asset. So it takes that into account.
Before I let you go, Tim, what kind of appetite have you seen since Fedgroup's involvement in impact investing?
Yeah, really positive. I think we've been really pleased. I think people are looking for something new and different, something even really established investors looking to diversify their portfolios, new investors looking for something new. I mean, you can really get in as little as 300 Rand with a blueberry bush. Really, we've got over 12,000 investors so far. Really good appetite.
Awesome. That is Tim Allemann, who is the Chief Strategy Officer at Fedgroup, talking to us about impact investing. We now cross to the ANC Head of Elections.